Wednesday, folks. Madcat here with Musings again. First off, a little bit of housekeeping. On my Around the Sea video on uh, Monday that I dropped, obviously explaining all the games for the week, I did mention it was a 4-0 lead for El Paso. It was actually a 4-1 lead for El Paso, and yeah, still they gave up 3 goals. They were still channeling Lansing United, but I just want to reiterate that score was 3. At that point, it was 4-1 in favor of El Paso. They came back with 3 goals to tie the thing, and one of the more exciting games of the night on Saturday night. So just a little housekeeping there as far as that goes. But speaking of, I wouldn't say housekeeping, uh, groundbreaking move last night. Paul Tenorio in the Athletic said, or put out an article last night. It's happening, folks. Oh my God, it's happening.
It's happening. Everybody stay calm.
What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure?
Stay calm.
Wait.
Everybody calm down.
USL owners passed this vote with a supermajority. What's the vote, may you ask? A vote about going pro-rel. That's right, folks. It's happening. USL owners, via supermajority last night, decided at a meeting that they will go pro-rel beginning, it sounds like, in 2028. Why 2028? I'm not sure what's going to happen. I don't know if they're going to do this because they're talking about League One starting in 27, 28, which is in line with the European calendar or whatever it is. And if they said with according to the article, the USL currently operates 2 pro leagues: the second division USL Championship, the third division USL 1. Last month, it was announced it will launch a new first division with expectations to begin play in 2028, which they were saying 27, 28, and all that stuff. So right now we're still under the assumption that this thing's going to go in 27. We'll see what happens there. League owners will now look to introduce promotion and relegation throughout the 3-tier pyramid, which aim to launch pro-rel along with the new Division 1 league. Now, we all know that we don't know what's going to happen as far as that goes, because in order to get into this new pro or Division 1 league, you have to be selected for it. But we all know the PLS and all the craziness that goes along with that. You have to have a 15,000 seat stadium. You have to be in 3 time zones. There's a money threshold there, or whatever it is. We don't know what's going on as far as that goes. If there's going to be any tweaking of this to allow this Division 1 league to happen. The minimum here and then another criteria as a part of that, the clubs that want to be in this or that are in this D1 structure and have to come from communities with a population of 1 million or more. So like I said, there's got to be a lot. I think I said this a couple weeks ago when we were talking about this whole Division 1 thing. The criteria has got to change in PLS at this point, because if USL were to go forward on this, a lot of this criteria has been put down by a USSF board that is mainly controlled by MLS, including the commissioner, one Don Garber. Cindy Cohn is just a figurehead on this commission. There is a lot of, like I said, a lot of USL or a lot of MLS people on this board, and of course MLS is looking at what's going on with the Papadakis and the people in ML or in USL right now, because they are striving now to be a direct competitor to what the MLS has been doing. So, continuing on with the article, the pro rel system is used commonly throughout the world. In leagues that utilize promotion and relegation, teams that finish at the bottom of the table move down to the division directly beneath their league, while teams that finish atop the lower divisions move up. So, say like a couple teams from USL League One will move up. A couple teams from USL Championship would move down, or League One. You know how that goes. Normal promotional relegation. You see that pretty much all over the world. You have a Bundesliga. You have the top Bundesliga, then you have a Bundesliga 2. You have the Premier League, then you have the Championship. League 1 in France, League 2 in France, Serie A 1, second division. You see that all over Europe. Now, Mexico had something like that until Liga MX decided that they would forego promotion relegation there. They still had the two division things as far as that goes during during the season. They'll split the clubs up as far as that goes. They'll still have that, but nobody's getting relegated in Liga MX anymore. Obviously, MLS, single entity franchise model, 30 teams. There's no promotion and relegation there. So, but over the last few years, the USL has studied different versions of what a pro rel system would look like if implemented. That's likely still has to be finalized in the coming years. The change will dramatically reshape what the USL and American pro soccer looks like. As you know, Major League Soccer operates a single entity business and is a closed league with no promotion and relegation, akin to more to a North American sports league like the NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball, and the NHL. MLS, like the USL leagues now, uses a playoff system to determine its champion and provide some level of consequence for the teams who finish above or below the playoff line. The only level of consequence that we have going as far as that goes, well, you saw evidence of that last night. 8 teams in the USL Championship are participating right now in the US Open Cup first round proper. Now, the teams that finished 8th and above will be coming in I think there's like 4 teams coming in the next round. I'm not sure. I have to look at the format. I'll look at that after I'm done with this video. But as you know, I think it's 8 teams that are coming in the third round of play. So the 4 teams, or the 8, or excuse me, 16 teams will come in the fourth round of play. I'm sorry, but 8 of those teams are in the first round proper right now. Those are the teams that missed the playoffs. Actually, 9 teams when you include Lexington SC, who weren't in the league last year. So those teams are coming in the first round proper of the U.S. Open Cup, playing amateur clubs in a format in which it's professional versus amateur in the first round of the competition. They will be playing those first 2 rounds. We come in, as you know, in the round of 16. So, or not the round of 16, round of 32. So the third round proper of the U.S. Open Cup. So that's the only thing that USL has done as far as that goes. Major League Soccer, it doesn't matter. I mean, I think their criteria there, you have to be out of CONCACAF Champions Cup, and I don't know how they're going to work this with the dumb Leagues Cup thing. So if you're not in CONCACAF Champions Cup, you're not in the tournament as well, because congestion. You can't be in You can't be in more than 3 competitions or whatever it is. Well, as you know, we have the Jägermeister Cup. Teams are participating. League 1 and League 2, or League 1 and Championship teams are participating in that competition. So either way, these guys are still playing three competitions regardless. So I digress there. So continuously, current U.S. Soccer's Pro League standards include stringent guidelines for Division One teams as well as for teams in the second and third tier. The introduction of promotion and relegation could force the sport's governing body to rethink some of those standards, as I alluded to earlier, in order to accommodate teams that move up and down the USL's pyramid. USL's initial push for promotion and relegation was held up in part by the owners' fears of lost revenue should their teams be relegated. It's a financial hardship that has been demonstrated around the world in more established leagues, but those leagues have also established revenues and larger media deals. Now, what does this mean as far as that goes? Okay, currently, right now, the USL has a media deal with CBS and Disney, ESPN Plus, as you know. CBS, of course, broadcasts the championship game every year now. It used to be ESPN2 or ESPN will broadcast the championship game, but now that deal will be right now. That deal is running until 2026. Um, will this be leverage for a possible deal coming up soon, as they are talking about it? It might get CBS interested. It's like, hey, there might be some drama going on in the USL. I think I want to get in on this. Well, I mean, we will see how that comes into fruition in the next couple of years. Now, what is done, as far as the other leagues go, obviously Sky Sports and I believe between Sky Sports, BT Sport, Amazon over in I think Amazon pulled out last year. I mean, this is just I'm showing you an example here between BT Sport, which is now TNT Sports, and so basically Warner Bros. Discovery and Sky over in England. They paid a huge ransom for Premier League coverage there. Not to mention what the Premier League is doing, for other countries around the world. NBC being one of those examples. They pump money into bringing Premier coverage here into the United States, so that funnels into the Premier League network there, who provides the feeds for all over the world as far as coverage of the Premier League goes. So they're getting a little bit of money, and it's being showed quite a bit right around the world as well. So a lot of this is going to fuel upon TV revenues there. Now, mind you, these USL Championship teams, unless they're bringing in gate receipts and by the billions or whatever, not really by the billions, but I mean, you got some good teams that good solid teams that are in the championship right now. Obviously, the loose cities, the San Antonios of the world, Charleston. They have a good, they have a solid foundation there. As far as that goes, I mean, those teams are, they're making a little bit of money there. That way they can, build nice stadiums and whatnot. And of course, obviously, we know what loose cities looks like. A lot of us have been down there before, including myself. So, of course, we're in the situation now about building a new stadium in Detroit City, or in Corktown, Mexican town area. So a lot of that's going to come down. But the thing is, I mean, a lot of that, the money, has to be fueled down, and all the, could depend on a TV contract. Maybe this will bring ESPN and CBS to the table, saying, "Hey, I see you got something interesting going there. Maybe we might sweeten the pot just a little bit there." Obviously, with ESPN in their cases, there's not a lot of soccer going on over there. They have the Bundesliga. I believe they have La Liga. Yeah, I believe they have La Liga. They don't have Serie A. Serie A is over at CBS. NBC obviously has got the Premier League. And and CBS also has the rest of the EFL, which ESPN lost this year. But the thing is, there is like, we could make something here, because obviously Fox has got a few games in MLS as far as the American soccer goes. We've got mostly the couple of the leagues around the world. We have La Liga. That means we got Madrid and Barcelona on there, one of the most popular things in the popular leagues in the world. Plus, we have the Bundesliga there with teams like Bayern Munich and Dortmund and Bayer Leverkusen. Or we have those like we can get into this sweet pot there, and of course, as as I mentioned, CBS too. Now with they have Serie A there with uh, Inter Milan and those AC Milan and all those teams in there, and of course they just picked up, as you know, they just picked up the EFL this year and all that stuff. They also got the UEFA Champions League, so and then spreading in through the entities there, and of course they just purchased, they just got the contract last year to broadcast USL Championship games themselves. So, and they broadcasted the championship game linear, and I'm not talking ESPN numbers there. I'll go over that, or not ESPN number. I'm not talking the Fox total numbers because it was on both Deportes and Fox regular, and of course Apple TV as well had the game for the championship. I'll go over those numbers in a little bit, but continue on in the article. The USL's initial push. Well, we already talked about the USL relies almost exclusively on game day revenues, including ticketing and concessions, as well as local sponsorship deals. Those are less likely to be impacted in the short and medium term as USL implements Pro-Rel. And while USL has an agreement with CBS and drew 431,000 viewers for its championship game last year, mind you, we don't know what TUDN's numbers as well, because, or TUDN's numbers, that's Univision, or not, is that Univision? I believe it is. Yeah, it is Univision. That's Univision's numbers for the Spanish language broadcast that was broadcast on there last year. So we don't have those numbers. We only got the CBS numbers, mind you, in this article. And while USL has an agreement with CBS and drew 431,000 viewers for its championship games last year, just shy of the 468,000 viewers that tuned in to the MLS Cup on Fox and Fox Deportes. Okay, now I did not, like I said, we don't know what the deal is as far as the we don't know what TUDN brought in as no. We don't know their numbers as of yet, as far as that goes. But the 468 is a combined between Fox and Fox Deportes on linear television. I think Fox, yeah, on linear television. So, and we also don't know what the numbers were from Paramount Plus, because Paramount Plus also had the game as well because it was on CBS national television. So those that subscribe to Paramount Plus were also treated with the game as well. So, but it's a far cry from media deals in England, as I alluded to. For example, where hundreds of millions of dollars are at stake for teams that go in and out of the Premier League. Obviously, you hear about the richest game in the world, which is the qualification final for the teams that are in 3 through 6 in the championship. That promotes you in they have the semifinals, and then once the semifinals are played, then they have the championship at Wembley. The two teams that survive the semifinals, they play in the richest game in the world, as they say, and that is for promotion for that third spot into the Premier League. The jeopardy in England, in other words, is much larger. Promotion and relegation could help drive more media. Promotion and relegation could help drive more media interest in the USL. However, for USL leaders, that meant more potential upside in introducing a system that is used around the world, and one for a sector of American fans, including myself, that have clamored for years. Shows like Welcome to Wrexham and Ted Lasso has introduced the romantic side of promotion and relegation to a wider audience in recent years. Now, the USL fans of USL clubs will have the chance to follow Pro-Rel stories in their own backyard. So that's, like I said, it's a huge deal. It's a really huge deal. As far as it, getting done, and USL has all intentions of doing to it. There's a lot of ramifications there, as you know. Um, one of the big ramifications, as you know, is the three. You got to have clubs in three different time zones, and you got to have clubs that have 15,000 seat stadiums. You got to have clubs that are in that are in Division One. A lot of those ramifications are pretty much Pandora's boxes made open by this PLS because of those stipulations that MLS put in there. And then, of course, as you know, the um, getting into MLS, the last team that was in there was, or that got in, the 30th team, San Diego FC, paid $500 million to join MLS. So this is going to be a lot different. Instead of the pay to play model, now you're going to have more of a you know you know and if you're a new club that wants to start out, say like okay, let's take Flint City for example. Okay, up by me. All right, let's take Flint City for example. All right, they're a League Two team. They only play in the summer, and they're looking at this saying, I have the opportunity to play Detroit City FC if I join this pyramid. Dan Duggan might be thinking about is how can I get guys that want to be committed to a year's worth of work and play in the you know and have a chance to play in the championship in a couple of years. Maybe you might be looking at that. Maybe I can get some more fans over to Atwood Stadium to watch my games because we have a chance to get into the championship and then potentially get into League One and potentially have a rivalry with Detroit City FC again. It might lure teams like that, lure a team in Ann Arbor to say, hey, how can we pack Holloway Field on a Saturday night? Oh yeah, there's this league. Let's get into this League One thing and have a chance to get into the championship. And the bottom line is here, it's based on sporting merit, like it is around the world. Sure, the financial ramifications are going to be there. I'm logging into this Detroit City thing. Jared Mackey just dropped this a few minutes ago. So, March, it's the official announcement. Now, not reading from this is the official announcement that's come down today, just released right now. Jared Mackey just shared it with us on the Detroit City app. If you have the Detroit City app, you got this article as well. So, and I'm sure it's going to be on the Facebook page and all that fun stuff as well. So, United Soccer League announced today that a supermajority of club owners voted to implement a promotion and relegation system, marking a groundbreaking decision that will reshape the future of professional soccer in the United States. The USL becomes the first professional sports league in the U.S. to adopt this global model, creating an interconnected three-tier men's professional soccer system where teams earn promotion to a higher division or face relegation to a lower division based on their performance during the season. With this historic step, the USL aligns with the world's top leagues, including the English Premier League, La Liga, Bundesliga, where promotion and relegation raises the stakes of every match, drives fan engagement, and elevates the overall competition of the game. A new chapter in American soccer begins. The decision made by our owners and move forward with this bold direction is a testament to their commitment to the long-term growth of soccer in the United States, according to Alice Papadakis, CEO of the United Soccer League. This is a significant milestone for the USL and highlights our shared vision with our team ownership to build a league that not only provides top-tier competition, but also champions community engagement. Now, just as it is in the global game, more communities in America can aspire to compete at the highest level of soccer. It's time. And you're right, it is time. It really is. Because we've been faced with the single entity model of MLS. NASL was just a single league with no promotion relegation. And then you had a plethora of leagues between NASL's NASL 1.0's demise in the mid 80s up until MLS started in 1994. Mainly the reason was we didn't have a Division One league for the longest time, and the main reason was MLS had to be created to satisfy that need because of the needs of the World Cup. Obviously, with the um, World Cup coming up in 2026 here in the United States, um, this is a bold move by this league to say, hey, you know what? It's ready. We're ready to play ball with the MLS. I'm not insinuating soccer wars and all that stuff, but the OSL said, you know what? We're going to make this interesting. We want the fans to be more engaged. This is gonna help in that aspect. So it's, like I said, very huge news here. So according to Paul McDonough, promotion and relegation transforms the competitive landscape of American soccer. With the 2026 World Cup and other major international events approaching, we have a unique opportunity to build on that momentum and create a sustainable future for the sport in the U.S. Fans and stakeholders have been clear they want something different. They are drawn to the high intensity of a high stakes competition where more matches have real consequences, just like we see in European leagues. This shift challenges the status quo and brings a level of excitement and relevance that can elevate the game across the country. So, more details of this implementation of structure of promotion relegation will be shared in the coming months. Obviously, for more updates, go to uslsoccer.com. So this is a big, huge move here, and we're just, like I said, I'm excited about it, obviously, because I've been an advocate of pro rel, and I'm not a fan of the Super League structure that MLS is saying. Now, Tom Dusky, shout out to him, commented on my status that I shared with you last night on on my own page, because I did it on my own page on Facebook, and I talk about that there. I also shared the article as well on Blue Sky. Didn't share it in the shall we say the didn't share it in the faithful Detroit City, because it's bigger than just Detroit City at this point. It's about American soccer in general. So he was talking about that MLS is thinking about two divisions, and I'm saying to myself, why not? They got 30 teams. 30 teams. How can you run? Most normal leagues that are in this promotion relegation deal, they have 20 teams per division. Granted, there's a lot more teams that are playing as well, but they got like 20 teams in the division. Bottom three teams usually drop down to the next division from the top to the next level. They run in a stagnant 30. MLS has 30 teams. Not to mention all those clubs that are independent now in this MLS Next Pro. Obviously, Grand Rapids is going to have one in a couple of years. Chattanooga FC, our former rivals in NISA, in Members Cup, and all that fun stuff. They're in MLS Next Pro. Reason being, they had no other place to go. I digress there, because Chattanooga, because the territorial rights. And I'll get on that real quick here, briefly, on territorial rights. I mentioned Flint City earlier. The Pandora's boxes that have to be opened up because of this. USL runs under territorial rights. So, like if a Detroit City is established, that there's no other teams in the area in a radius area that can establish a USL championship team. With this might open up the door as far as that goes, as far as those territorial rights are concerned. Like an Ann Arbor could come in and say, "Hey, we want to play in this thing," or Flint could come in and say, "Hey, we want to join this thing." Um, it opens up the door. It really opens up the door to like a open. I mean, within the USL of like, I wouldn't say it's not totally open. In order for it to be totally open, territorial rights have to be dropped. Let's just put it that way. And that's my honest opinion. Um, but it opens up the door in a way in which its member clubs can say, "Hey, I can probably play in this. We might have aspirations to go bigger here. We're not just going to be some amateur club that plays in the summer anymore. We can play this, and we can play this thing throughout the year, and then we can see where we are going on. If we win this thing, if we win, lower clubs say, if we could win this thing, we could go to the next level." Or a top three team could, hey, we can go to the next level here. So, a lot to be, let's just say this. Bottom line is, it's gonna be a work in progress. Obviously, we know the Division One thing is gonna be a work in progress because we don't know what teams are gonna go Division One being selected through this, this process that's gonna happen in the coming years, shall we say. A lot of it has to do with, and the other thing is the PLS that is set forth by USSF, a board which consists mainly of MLS people. They pretty much control the board. If you want to look more into that, there's a video series on YouTube with Eric Winalda describing that. So check that out as well. Um, he'll explain more as far as that goes. Between what MLS does as far as kind of control things in soccer. We think this is a door that's going to open, and it's going to please a lot of fans in this country that are in support of Pro Rel going forward. So at least one league is stepping up and saying that, hey, we got enough teams in our ecosystem. Let's do this. And you know, all we can hope for is let's see how it works, and let's see if it will work. I think it will work. I honestly think it will work, and the way that they're going to make it a way that all clubs in the ecosystem profit from it. And we've seen it where promotional relegation has you know been like the death nail of teams, and that's because teams have been mismanaged as far as that goes doing that, even though they still get help from the top leagues, and there is a share of responsibility and balloon payment, or not balloon payments, but solidarity payments and all kinds of other stuff. Even if you go down in the Premier League, you still get a chunk of change, to help you bring yourself back up, based on sporting merit, of course. So I mean, a lot has to be, there's going to be, just saying that you're going to be pro rel in the next couple of years and actually putting it into progress. It's not really the same thing. It's not really, well, you could say it's two different things, but it's not really the same thing. A lot is going to have to be done as far as that goes. And I mean, I'm playing devil's advocate here, but a lot is going to have to be done. The territorial rights have to go away, number one. Number two, obviously we've got this three um, time zone thing that you have to have a Division One league have be in three time zones and all that stuff. What if you have no teams in, say, like the western, like the western part of California, but you got more teams in like the central part of California or central part of the United States, and in the eastern part of the United States that are eligible, and then you have like two or three teams out west, and that's all you had in your top division. That you had 2, 3 teams out west, and they end up having to get relegated into the second division. A lot of things are going to have to be done. A lot of tweaks are going to have to be done to the system in order for this to work. So, stay tuned for all that stuff, coming down the line. But the fact is, and like I said, the PLS, not everybody's going to be playing in a 20,000 seat stadium. You're going to have you're going to have stadiums that are going to have like 5,000 seats. And if they win based on sporting merit, they can't go to the top division because they only have 5,000 seats in their stadium. Heck, Luton Town last year only had 11,000 seats and were able to play in the Premier League, for God's sakes. So a lot of those things have got to work themselves out in in the long run. And it's like, and another thing. Oh, let me go back to that one more time. Okay, say like a town like Madison, Wisconsin, for example. Ford Madison. Say like Ford Madison ends up being in Division One. What? You're not going to allow them access because they don't have a million people in their surrounding area? Like I said, a lot of tweaks are going to have to be done. A lot of discussion is going to have to be done at these USSF annual meetings, saying like, "Oh, wait a minute, what's this? USL wants," and a lot of kumbaya is going to have to come along as well. In fact, let's just say a certain franchise model is going to have to, I don't know, loosen up its purse string, or not purse strings, loosen up its tight ass strings as far as the rules are concerned. There's going to have to be a lot of stuff going on in order for this to work. But I mean, to see this within an ecosystem, it's going to be huge, and I think it's going to be the game changer as far as what we see coming on down the line. More on this to come, as you know. We got we got the home opener coming up, not big, huge. We got the home opener with the first place Detroit City FC taking on a team that just salvaged a draw the other day down in Birmingham against the defending Players Shield winners, Lou City. So, and of course, a team that's been revamped, shall we say. We'll preview that on Saturday afternoon as we get you set for the home opener at Keyword. 4:00 kickoff. If you haven't got your tickets yet, get those tickets now. You get them. I think you can get them up till Friday. Say like at the City Club Shop or City Club Shop downtown. You can get them. And I think there's a deal on SeatGeek, or a deal as well, where you could get single game home tickets up until Friday for $15. Usually it's a game at a time, but all single game home tickets are $15 right now. If you purchase them through DebtCityFC.com, SeatGeek, providing that deal. Jump on that deal if you want to see the shall we say, the most unique experience in all of Detroit sports, and that is being at a Detroit City SC game at Keyworth Stadium. So we'll go over what's going on as far as the men go. Saturday, soccer night in Detroit. We're gonna have it. We're not going to have a big episode. I tell myself that. And of course, we're having a big episode now because of this promotion relegation thing that's going to be implemented, obviously, on the Musings. So it's a little bit longer, and I apologize for that. Usually I try to keep these down to 15 minutes, but this is huge news, folks. Very huge news. So, but we'll talk more about this on Saturday. Steve and I will, and we'll get his thoughts on it. And we're going to preview a game between a team that came into Keyworth last year and took 3 points, took more than just 3 points from us. They ended up winning the game 2-1. So, and this is a very tough Birmingham side that they defeated them down at Protective Stadium. Who knew? So, but if you got your tickets yet, DebtCityFC.com, SeatGeek, Capital City store, or Capital Park store downtown, not Capital City, Capital Park store downtown is where you can get your tickets for this game on Saturday afternoon. The game will be on WKBD channel 50 or CW Detroit 50 at 4:00 with Neil Rule, John Krieger on the call. And it will also be available local in the state of Michigan on CBSDetroit.com and on ESPN Plus as well. So, and of course, I think we have a 4:00 game. Lou City has a 4:00 game, so we'll keep tabs on both those games. You can keep tabs on both those games, and we'll have highlights from both those games as well coming on the after hours show on Saturday afternoon. So we might do another. I think I'm just going to do the highlights of both those games so that way we can get done, get it over with quick. I'm not going to go do that stuff. That we can say for Under the Sea, and hope you enjoyed it. If you haven't followed or not Under the Sea, Around the Sea, if you haven't followed Around the Sea or haven't seen an Around the Sea video as of yet, check out my TikTok, Soccer Night in Detroit on TikTok or at Brett Peel. I have that up there as well. So if you want to check that out, it's just a whimsical look of what happened over the weekend. So I call it Around the Sea. So check that out as well. I'll try to post one of those out every week. Um, even when Detroit City is not playing. So that way I can, go around that. So, like I said, no highlight package except for we're just going to break down what happened on Saturdays to keep it short and simple for after hours. But look for the highlight package on Around the Sea coming up on TikTok and as well. And I will share it under other social media as well going into next week. And have a chance, check it out. I'm on TikTok at Brett Peel on TikTok. Check that out as well. So until we meet on Saturday for the home opener at Keyworth Stadium, keep your feet in the ground, keep reaching for the galaxy.